Welcome back to episode 3 of the Hodge Factor. We've had 2 of them already, and I love doing this, so we're going to continue with the series and move on to episode 3. First, we're going to be talking about the coronavirus and coronavirus antibodies. A recent report found that coronavirus antibodies found in 21% of New Yorkers in early testing. What that means is if you have or had antibodies, then you more than likely had the COVID-19. More than 21% of the New York residents randomly given coronavirus antibody tests earlier this week tested positive, Governor Cuomo said in a news conference on Thursday. And if the state rate stands at 13.9% on a large scale, that would amount to roughly 2.7 million people who would have been infected, and drops the fatality rate of the virus down 0.5%. That's what the governor says. So on the same basis, the 21.2% infection rate in New York City would suggest that more than 1.7 million people had the virus. So if this many people had the coronavirus and survived, then that means that the death rate is a whole lot lower, because so many more percentage of people survived, and that makes the percentage of death rate decrease dramatically, which makes the numbers look a little bit better on graphs and according to government officials and medical workers. So that is our coronavirus segment. The economy did good, more than likely. I don't quite know if it went a weekly up or down rating, but it did. I know it's doing good. It's not out of the 20,000, so we're fine. President Trump's trying to reopen the economy and get those numbers back up. So I am with him on that, and he needs encouragement through that. So Conservative Carlos is back, and he's one of my best friends. So we're actually going to send it over to him because I heard he has a update on the Democratic nominee for the presidency. So we're going to send it over to him and see what he has to say about Joe Biden.
I just have a quick update with Joe Biden, the Democrat there. It's simple as this. He's nuts. Him and his verbal word gas are just absolutely crazy. Oh, I got a clip to show you guys. Yeah, check out this clip. I'll be back right after it.
There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
Spit it out, Joe. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm not the brightest tool in the pencil box, but I'm a lot brighter than that. I mean, maybe we should just write with his face just like a bubble that says, "Whoops, I just sniffed somebody's hair." Wait, no, if we did that, we'd lose a lot of production value. So before we do this, we're just going to send it back over to Hayden. He's amazing. So, Hayden, I'm going to send it back over to you before I make a lot of viewers just turn off this right now. Okay, bye, guys. Yay!
Man, Carlos, that was some really good information. I'm glad that you told us all about that stuff. I mean, Biden just pretty much lost his mind. We have a new segment, actually. It is basically just like the History Bunch, but it's actually on a different subject. It's called the Sports Spot, which was made by the Hodge Herald, and will be coming out on the Hodge Herald on Sunday rather than the History Bunch. So I'm going to jump into the Sports Spot, and the subject for the Sports Spot is the NFL Draft, which is happening all this week and most of all next week. So the NFL Draft is not as new as like the college football playoff. The draft has actually been around for almost 100 years. The NFL Draft started in 1936. The proposal of the idea came from Burt Bell, who was actually the Eagles owner and soon to be an NFL commissioner. And he said that the best way for college players to get selected into the NFL was for the NFL teams to pick them. So he decided that the best way to do it was depending on their picks, they would do it in inverse order compared to their last season. So the teams that did the worst job would get the first pick. So it basically evens it out because the best teams don't get anybody that good the next time. So he decided that the inverse order would work. So a lot of well-known NFL players like Cam Newton, the Manning brothers. They were all number 1 picks in the NFL draft. And for the past 3 years, actually, the number 1 picks were Heisman Trophy winners. 2018 was Baker Mayfield, 2019 was Kyler Murray, and 2020 was Joe Burrow. And the first 3 picks of this year's NFL draft actually all played with each other at one point. Yes, Joe Burrow did play for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he left to LSU, skipped his junior season, and then played the senior season. So the NFL draft shows no sign of stopping, and I don't think anyone would say that it ever should. Okay, now we're going to head into the question of the day. We skipped it last time, and I'm very unhappy that we did so, but we're going to do it again this week to see if you guys know some good presidential trivia. This week's question is, how many presidents died in office? Don't look it up. And if you can name all the names of the presidents that did die in office, you get bonus points, and that gets you 2 very expensive great jobs, which is valuable coming from Tony Hodge. So, I'm going to say goodbye because that's all that I had planned for this episode today. So I'm going to head on out. Conservative Parlor should be back next week. So I'm going to say bye and see you next time.